Lightning, throw thunder in jail. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick.
What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Laila Ali and Claressa Sheilds. Okay, I've been waiting for the right opportunity to post this video concerning Claressa Sheilds and Laila Ali, and for quite some time there has been a back and forth, Cold War-ish like situation between Claressa Sheilds and Laila Ali. And Laila Ali had this to say as she drops a bombshell on Claressa Sheilds, okay? And we all know Claressa Sheilds has been saying a lot about Laila Ali, but this video pretty much sets it straight. It shows us what happened. It shows us what it came down to, and it shows us the conclusion, because this bombshell, this mic drop is here, and I have to let you guys hear it, okay? So this is Big Sis, Laila Ali, and then you guys can tell me who's at fault, right? So here we go.
There has been a whole lot of talk about the possibility of me making a comeback to boxing. And people have had a lot to say, but I have not addressed it until now. And I know everyone wants to know the answer to the question, will I be coming back? And I promise you, I'm going to give you that answer. But first, I have got to address the lies and the fake narrative that's been created years ago. Now, someone's gotten way too comfortable dragging my name and even using my father's name to get attention and clout. Now, in case you haven't heard it, her story is that I didn't support her and I didn't pass the torch because of my jealousy and envy over her accomplishments in boxing. She says that I disrespected her and I started talking about knocking her out simply because I was bitter that she's outdone me. I've seen a lot of the comments. Many of you have good discernment and understand what's really going on here, while others have believed her lies over the years or have formed an opinion without having all the facts. Now, originally, I wasn't even going to give this my time or attention because I really don't engage with people who thrive off of negativity, drama, and buffoonery. But I'm not about to let someone with bad character continue running freely, dragging my name without accountability.
That's not going to happen.
Come on now, listen. Laila Ali is just Muhammad Ali's daughter. And
no, come on, we ain't gonna do that.
No, that is right.
Come on, Laila can rumble and go.
And Wolf would have knocked Laila Ali out. She would have knocked Laila so pretty ass out.
So this right here is the consequence. Now, I have been busy working on other projects that required all of my time and focus, which is why I'm just now saying something. But honey, I have made the time to address this. So today, the bad guy ain't getting away. Now let's hit rewind because we really need to see what's happened over the years. What got us here? Now,
Okay, let me stop right there, okay? Just for a second. You guys heard Claressa Sheilds. She was on $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. And you heard what she said. She said that Laila Ali is nobody without her father. And Wolf would have knocked her out. Oh, so pretty out. Right? Okay. My counterpunch is to this. First off, okay, because we got to do this bit by bit before it gets too long and then I forget. Bars. Right? Laila Ali was in one of the best women eras. I think it was the premier era and the best era that boxing has to offer in the history of boxing. Because remember, it's women boxing. So women boxing hasn't been around a long time. In fact, women boxing wasn't around long enough to even have the Olympics involved. So we'll get to that in a second. However, you know, Ann Wolfe would have knocked her out. See, the thing is, that might have been true. You know, Ann Wolfe was a beast. However, what you're saying about Laila Ali getting knocked out by Ann Wolfe is no credit to your own. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's like saying, oh, when you retire, that's like someone in 20 years talking about you, 20 years from now talking about you and saying, you know what, the Lioness would have knocked you out. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, what do you do about that now? And oh so pretty A out, it would have knocked your oh so pretty A out. Well, you know what that's coming from. That's coming from jealousy, because Big Sis is drop dead gorgeous. She's just gorgeous. She is one of those women that has kept herself up, that people should want to be like, as far as physical and nutrition, because she knows how to carry herself. She knows how to take care of herself. She knows how to keep herself in shape. Okay, that's a woman duty. So you're mad about her keeping her weight. What do you want her? 250 pounds, walking around, waddling. Is that what you want? You know what I mean? She's a professional boxer. So why would you even want her to look like that? Why would she look like that? Okay. So that being said, it's like, you know, you're talking about someone's looks. It seems like you're a little jelly. Yeah. Seems like you're a little jelly saying about, oh, so pretty A out. That's like Lennox Lewis was talking about AJ. Oh, he looks good. Yeah, the people like his looks. I'm like, what does his looks have anything to do with the boxing ability? Okay, so, you know, that has to be something personal right there. You know what I mean? So these were personal stabs. You know, the first one and the last one were definitely personal stabs at Laila. Now, let's continue to see the rewind, okay, because to see how it all started between Laila and Claressa, okay? All right, let's continue this video.
About to do the whole he say, she say thing, so let me show you some receipts. I first met her in 2012 when she was invited on stage to stand next to me when I gave my father his Liberty Medal. At some point, she reached out, started asking me for advice, wanted to know if she should go to the Olympics a second time or go pro. She would also call me and let me know when she was fighting. Now, at the time, I was one of the hosts of We Need to Talk, an all-female sports commentary show that still airs on CBS. I asked the producers if we could do a story on her. They agreed. So I got on a plane, flew to Colorado, and did a full sit-down interview with her. Now, this is just a shortened version of the 6-minute piece that aired on CBS in 2016. 21-year-old Claressa Sheilds is as confident as her right hand is powerful. Soon, Claressa will be heading to Rio for the Olympics to try and do something that has never been done before. I sat down to talk with her about changing history and being a positive spark for her hometown. You should have heard the story by now. The one about a kid from Flint, Michigan, who has gone toe-to-toe with adversity and stands undefeated.
But I'll always go back to Flint and help.
I know that when I was fighting, whether any of my struggles that I had to overcome, or anything that I was upset about, whether it be something personal or something going on in the world, I would use that anger, you know, and take it into the ring with me and channel that energy into the ring. Have you ever done that?
I did that a lot. You know, I was going through stuff back at home, but I would have a boxing match, and I would take out everything I was going through on the girl, and that kind of helped me, because after I boxed, that was my ultimate high, and I felt like my life was perfect for at least 2 weeks. So
Claressa's father, a former underground fighter, was passionate about boxing.
He went on to tell me that Muhammad Ali's daughter, Laila, took after him. And he's like, and my dad, he says to this day, Laila's a bad girl. He says all the time. He said, nobody in our family took up boxing. I thought when he told me that, he was telling me to take after him.
Claressa beat the odds to win gold in 2012. When the Olympics start in August, she'll try to be the first American boxer to win back-to-back gold medals. Everybody's going to be fighting you harder. Everybody's going to be trying to elevate their game. They're going to be running harder. They're going to be training harder. They're going to be dreaming about beating you. How are you preparing for that mentally and physically?
Honestly, I just I learned how to beat every fighting style. Tall girls, short girls, girls my size. Because I'm like, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty great, you know? I don't know what I would
You're supposed to
do.
feel that way about yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you wouldn't have been able to get to this level if you didn't feel that way about yourself.
Yes.
I don't know about you ladies, but I have absolutely no doubt that Clarissa's going to win gold again in the Olympics. Women's boxing wasn't even in the Olympics when I was boxing,
Right.
so I'm like, do it for us, because she's in the weight class I would have been in. So I'm like, go get it, girl, go get it. There's a lot of women who have been training for a long time, and nobody knows who they are. So the Olympics just really gives them a platform and something to strive towards. I didn't even fight amateur because I was like, I can't go to the Olympics, so why should I do that? You know, I want to be in control of my career, but it's so great to see these young girls coming up. You know, you got 9-year-olds now and 10-year-olds, and they're inspired by people like Claressa. Now, as you can see, I was genuinely rooting for her. I gave her praise. I gave her a spotlight. When she asked for advice, I gave her valuable branding advice and boxing advice so she can have long-term success in and outside of the ring. I told her about the challenges that I faced fighting at 168, where there was limited competition, and I suggested that if she decided to turn pro, she should consider going down in weight, somewhere around 148, where she would have more competitive challenges. I told her she should hire a nutritionist, trim off that excess body fat, and get into elite next level shape. I pointed her in the right direction, and I had high hopes for her. Whether she decided to turn pro or not, I felt like her future was bright if she played her cards right. But of course, at the time, I was not aware of her divisive, vindictive, and malicious nature. And I know those are strong words, but they actually fit. This girl has created a pattern. It's been directed towards many people time and time again. Now, before we started our interview in Colorado, she's...
Okay, so I'm going to stop there. And I think what we need to do, we need to draw on our own conclusion. Okay, because first off, anyone at the level of Laila Ali that went out of their way to recommend to their network, their audience, the group that she works in, her co-workers on a women's sports channel about Claressa Sheilds. That's the secondary. The first, the primary, is her being present while Laila commended her father and giving him an award. You know what I mean? So that's one of the first recommendations right there of, hey, I want to include you. I want to add you in and show you and expose you to this lifestyle because I want you to be something special because I believe in you. I'm taking time, okay, and the commitment from my personal life by bringing you here, right? Then comes, hey guys, you guys I work with, you know this girl Claressa Sheilds from Flint, Michigan, she is something else. You know what? I think we should interview her, right? So she does. And she gives her all this advice in and outside the ring, as she explained. And that's what you get pretty much, you know, and it's crazy because I want to read here for just a second what Claressa also wrote as, to me, a sign of brutal, honest disrespect. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay. Now, this is by Amanda Serrano, and it says, quote, it says, Claressa, you are one of the best, and I will always admire what you have accomplished. But over the past 3 years, you have constantly made disrespectful comments about my company, my promoter, my accomplishments, and the people I care about who have changed my life and have made it a point to support women's boxing on the biggest stages possible. It's time to recognize this and move forward on separate paths. I will always be a big fan of yours in ring accomplishments. Stay well. And that's by Amanda Serrano. And this is just another example of how Claressa Sheilds did things to people in regards to integrity. character or lack of, right? And, you know, this has nothing to do with Laila, but it kind of does, because people see, you know, what you do and how you disrespect others. You know, Muhammad Ali said it best. You know, I don't pay attention to how someone treats me. I pay attention to how someone treats the waiter or the help or the dishwasher. I pay attention to that, because if you, that's who you truly are, that's how you look at people overall, especially in position. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So what she was talking about stuck. And back to Laila Ali, it's like, how can you say that I haven't done anything for you? And how could you give me that type of disrespect when I did everything to help you? You know, that's bad, man. You know what I mean? And it just shows how you poke the damn bear, you're going to get mauled. That's what happens when you poke the bear right there. You know, and the backstory was crazy, because how could you take tutelage from someone like that and then turn around and stab them in the back? Bars. How could you do that? Like, why would you do that? You know, and this is what it comes down to for me. Claressa Sheilds, in closing, Claressa Sheilds is jealous for a lot of reasons. For one, her dad admires Laila Ali. Of course, everyone admires Muhammad Ali. And I think she's seen that and she used that as motivation, but at the same time, that was also competition. So she wanted to compete with someone that doesn't compete no more and show her father, you know what, Dad, I can do better than she did. That's why she makes it a point to say and to point out, hey, I've went farther than Laila. Because this might have started at home. This might have started the competition of that young girl listening to her father say, you know what, baby, Laila's a bad girl. And she probably heard that shit and it probably made her sick to her stomach. Therefore, she trained and focused on boxing. So there you go. I think that's what it's all about. I think what she did was, hey, I'll show my dad. I'll show that tall, light-skinned bitch that I'm better than her. But first, let me get some pointers from her first. You know what I mean? And that's what I think this is all about. I think that's the core of this whole situation, because Laila didn't do anything besides what Laila does. And what Laila did was nothing wrong, nothing bad, nothing negative whatsoever. So me looking at that, you know, I'm glad Laila took it out of her time, and she waited a bit. She did wait a while to drop this info, you know, and put this package together of evidence. This is the mountain of evidence that we needed to resolve an issue, you know. But Claressa, I think the jealousy got to her. And for the record, people, Laila didn't even have Olympic boxing then. So if anybody should be like, oh, well, I didn't even have that then, it would be Laila. But why would Laila worry about anything when she's undefeated and did what she's supposed to do, had her kids, got married, did, you know, in good well, good sickness, good mind, you know, and good spirit. Why would she be worried about that? But she didn't have the things that Claressa had. She couldn't be a gold Olympian. She couldn't be like her father. Do you see what I mean? So that could have, if Laila was worried about competing with her father, that would be one of the things that she would be butthurt about, because she couldn't do it because they didn't have it. It didn't exist at the time. But if it existed for Claressa, it still wasn't enough. So that what lets you know that you're competing with someone that is no longer fighting. And it just shows you that you don't have a challenge worthy enough. You can't mess with men. We know what happened with that. Okay, so like we can't go there with that. So this is one of the most open and shut cases that I've seen between Laila and Claressa, you know, and I think the mic has dropped. I think the mic is on the ground, and I think the mic is still going because there's nothing else to say. But you guys tell me what you think of Laila Ali finally setting the record straight for Claressa Sheilds. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!